keep the metal faith alive.
Good day, everyone. James here. I would like to start a series where we take a look at Death's lyrics. Now, this is where I also want you, the fans, to get involved. Please tell me what songs impacted you. What songs or lyrics should we take a look at together? Now, what I have here is a lyric book made by a man called Mayardin, and he is Persian. So, of course, he is from Iran, and he's the guitarist of a band called Ang Band. So you can check them out if you want to. There are a few typos, so I just double checked with the original lyrics just to make sure that any corrections needed I made. Okay. Now, this book is interesting. We're going to go from right to left. So I don't know if that's a Persian thing or an Eastern thing, but there you go. So here's the front cover, and here is the back cover. You can't exactly see the picture or the quote, so I'll just read it to you. And it says, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And when you look long into the abyss also looks into you." Now, that is a quote from Nietzsche, of course, an absolutely fantastic quote. The song we're going to take a look at is Lack of Comprehension. The reason I want to take a look at that is purely because, first of all, it's a great song. And secondly, I can find a video where Chuck gives a brief introduction to the meaning behind the lyrics. So this is another time where I need your help. If any of you know some of the meanings that Chuck gave to the songs, please leave a comment down below and let us all know. Maybe you have an insight that some of us do not. So what did Chuck say about Lack of Comprehension? He said that this song is about people that blame all of their problems on music, or they say that music causes these problems. I'll provide a brief introduction from Chuck himself.
Lack of Comprehension, off our new album, Human. And this song is dealing with people blaming their problems on music, heavy metal in general, or any type of music.
The idea here is very, very simple. We're going to explore the lyrics together. I'm basically going to read them to you, and if I have anything that I feel like inputting, then I will. For me personally, when I am reading something, or if I want to gain from the information in front of me, I much prefer social commentary or observation of life. I find that far more stimulating than just complete fiction. Of course, fantasy and fiction is excellent, but I find it much more stimulating to learn from real life. And this is something that Chuck did very well, I think. He made those social commentaries. He made those observations of life. And funnily enough, that's also something that makes for not only excellent depth, but excellent comedy. The best comedy is the comedy that is relatable because it's observation of life. So, Lack of Comprehension. Let's take a look at the lyrics themselves, okay? A condemning fear strikes down things they cannot understand. An excuse to cover up weaknesses that lie within. Lies. Laying your guilt and pain on people that had no part in the molding of a life that creates its destruction. Lies. Right before your eyes, a reflection of the mistakes to the end you will deny. Your part in the demise of a life. Lack of comprehension. Thriving on your cliché. Compelled by self-resentment. Reaching into the minds of those that created the depression in which they drown their flesh and blood. Lies. So easy to blame the everlasting guilt on a pathetic attempt to justify the ending of a life. Lies. Right before your very eyes, a reflection of the mistakes to the end you will deny. Your help in the ending of a life. Lack of comprehension, thriving on your cliché, compelled by self resentment. What absolutely fantastic lyrics. If we take a look at this together and we try to break it down bit by bit, of course, interpretation is loose, interpretation is free. You can have your own view, you can have your own opinion. It's not right or wrong, it's just yours. A condemning fear strikes down things they cannot understand. This statement is just as prevalent then as it is today, as it will be into the future. People who attack things that they do not understand. I mean, Chuck would have a field day nowadays when it comes to social commentary. Of course, I'm not American. I'm not actually a huge fan of bringing politics into music, but the current situation in America where you have to decide between two complete deplorable maniacs is a decision I am extremely happy that I do not have to be involved with, because it's beyond a joke where things have come. An excuse to cover up weaknesses that lie within, laying your guilt and pain on people that had no part in the molding of a life that creates its destruction. Of course, music, movies, video games, all of these things that people like to spend their time enjoying have often been the target of society, especially when they have no comprehension of what their children are enjoying. Right before your very eyes, a reflection of the mistakes to the end you will deny. What a fantastic section. Right before your very eyes, a reflection of the mistakes to the end you will deny. So, for me personally, if I was to interpret that, I would say that you're looking at a child, for example, your son, your daughter, and they have turned out to become or act in disgusting ways. And as opposed to take the responsibility, you want to externalize the issues and blame it on something else, rather than looking internally at what you have caused, what you are responsible for. It's a very cheap and weak escape, I think. Lack of comprehension, thriving on your cliche, compelled by self-resentment. Attacking the things that people enjoy is so cliche. It's so easy. And of course, we have the words guilt and self-resentment in this passage, driven by self-resentment. So deep down, you are fully aware of your own guilt, but denial overpowers all of that. Reaching into the minds of those that created the depression in which they drowned their flesh and blood. Reaching into the minds of those that created the depression in which they drowned their flesh and blood. The depression in which they drowned their flesh and blood. So easy to blame the everlasting guilt on a pathetic attempt to justify the ending of a life. Right before your very eyes, a reflection of the mistakes to the end you will deny. Your help in the ending of a life. Lack of comprehension, thriving on your cliche, compelled by self-resentment. Time and time again, we have seen how when there have been these horrendous acts performed by potentially lost people, but not every time, because of course many unbelievable, incomprehensible actions, they can be performed by a person of academia. It's not always about those who are lost. It's just that music and media is such an easy target. Every time it will be a target today, it was a target in the past, and it will be a target in the future. So please feel free to leave a comment. Leave your ideas. I want this to be a social experience. So if you like the idea that I continue with lyrically themed videos, then please let me know. Like I say, I need your help. So tell me, do you have knowledge of Chuck's input onto different songs? What songs affected you? And even this book has a bit of a story that I would tell you some time. The Schuldiner family sent me this in a care package, and I can link to the video, but specifically Beth Schuldiner, who is Chuck's sister. And of course, if you would like to learn a little bit more about this book, let me know. Okay, people, maybe you agree or disagree with my interpretation. Either way, it's my interpretation. Please let me know yours. Okay, if you like the video, thumbs up. If you want more content, subscribe, and I will catch you next time.
Keep the metal faith alive.